What up, what up? It's your boy Dante back again with another video. Appreciate everybody that's been subscribing to the channel, everybody that's been hitting that like button, sharing the videos. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you can be up to date on all the latest news around the country. Also touch on certain things that go on within pop culture, and also shed light on certain stories that kind of fly under the radar. So of course today wouldn't be any different, right? So I got a question for y'all, man. Do y'all like to travel? Me personally, I love to travel. I've been to many countries overseas, been to pretty much every island in the Caribbean. And one thing I do know about island and the people in particular, very pleasant people, like very kind, very friendly, very accommodating. And when you think of people on the island, you know, they have like this certain demeanor about them. Obviously, some of them may be a little bit more nicer because of the amount of money that you're spending while you're on the island. But for the most part, overall, my experience personally has been I have nothing but nice things to say about people on the island, right? So you would think that Hawaii wouldn't be any different, right? You would expect, you know, nice scenery, some good food, maybe, depending on who you ask, the volcanoes, nice weather, all that good stuff, right? But you wouldn't associate Hawaii with organized crime now, would you? That's why today's video might surprise you a little bit. So on Wednesday, November 5th, individual named Jonathan Monalim, he was reported to be last seen by family members leaving his house. Now, on November 7th, a missing persons report went out to the public, and then that's when things get a little tricky, right? Let me show you guys a video of a news report that went out regarding Mr. Monalim, and then we'll get back into the story.
A man involved in a high-profile trial more than 2 decades ago is now missing. Police say 55-year-old Jonathan Monalim hasn't been heard or seen from since leaving his home in Kapolei Wednesday night.
Yeah, multiple sources and a family attorney say the disappearance is suspicious. Nikki Schenfeld reports.
Jonathan Monalim had a long criminal record in the late 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. He was also the star witness in the 2004 Poly Golf Course shooting trial and was an informant for the government. His recordings ultimately led to his family member, Rodney Joseph Jr. and Ethan Mota, to being sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole.
It was a big deal because, number one, that's something that's frowned on the West Side, I'll tell you that. And these were family members, at least one. So it was, in my view, it could be a problem down the road. I mean, where, you know, people can be very patient and payback can be really awful.
Police were seen searching the Pearl City industrial area on Thursday afternoon with canines, drones, and homicide detectives. According to family attorney Michael Green, Monalim's girlfriend said his hearing aid was found in the area and his phone had been pinged there too. Sources tell us 2 bullet casings were also found in the Pearl City area, but no sign of Monalim.
You kind of think the inevitability of for those things to be found, the physical evidence to be found, the blood and the hearing aid and the casings, and not the body being found, that, you know, everybody's thinking about it, but you don't want to say it.
He says it's unlike Monalim to not be in contact with his family for this long.
You know, if we haven't heard from him by now, I'm very bothered by that.
Green says police are testing one of his son's DNA to see if it matches the blood that was found at the scene.
I know there's a team of officers, homicide guys and crew guys, that are working on this, and they've been all over the place searching homes and different areas and doing DNA testing. So I would think by Monday or Tuesday, if they don't find him, it may be that they never will.
Monalim is described as 5 foot 8 inches tall and 215 pounds with brown eyes and was wearing a gray t-shirt, dark colored shorts, and shoes. Anyone with information is asked to call Honolulu Police.
With an overnight murder investigation in Waipio, Honolulu police say officers located the body of a man with apparent gunshot wounds. The longtime family friend and attorney for missing man Jonavan Monalim believes it was his body. Nikki Schenfeld follows up.
Several hours after police announced 55-year-old Jonavan Monalim was missing, they were investigating a body that was found off of a dirt road in Waipahu.
They took fingerprints of the body, and they've identified it as Jonavan.
Monalim was last seen leaving his Kapolei home Wednesday night. On Thursday, there was heavy police presence in the Pearl City industrial area, where Monalim's girlfriend told Green that Monalim's hearing aid was found with a bullet casing and a pool of blood. Green says the family was not asked to identify Monalim in person or with a photo.
They decided not to photograph the face for identification. It shows rage or payback. And I'm not saying who they're paying back for. And I'm not saying what people were enraged about, whether it's a money debt or something else, or a payback for something they think you did in the past. I can't answer that. But it's not the first time I've seen fingerprint identification where they didn't want to or could not take pictures of the face.
Monalim was the key witness in the 2004 Poly Golf Course shooting trial after wearing an FBI wire that secretly recorded a conversation. That recording ultimately led to his cousin Rodney Joseph Jr. and Ethan Malu Mota to being sentenced to life in prison without parole. Green says Monalim has had disagreements with other individuals over the years.
He never would have gone to meet anybody if he had the slightest concern about his safety. But he certainly, if he was a one-on-one, he trusted the person with his life. And he made a mistake, apparently.
Green believes police finding the body in the middle of nowhere means one thing.
They knew where they were going. So somebody gave up somebody.
Police have not confirmed any arrest and are deferring identification of the body to the medical examiner.
So basically the storyline goes, he was reported missing. A couple hours later, his hearing aid is found, pool of blood. Shortly after that, his actual body was found at a different location. Now, we know someone gave up that information. You don't just find someone's body that quickly without someone providing that information. So we know there's going to be an arrest sooner than later. And the attorney mentioned like he wouldn't have gone somewhere without it being someone that he trusted. So someone basically led him to his demise. And he must have been very unidentifiable, or, you know, however they took him out, the family chose to just identify him by DNA opposed to a picture being taken and identify him that way. I'm pretty sure that could be somewhat traumatic to kind of see your family member in that way. And as you heard in the report, he basically testified against his own family members, his two cousins, in a murder case back in 2004. So
thanks for having us in. A Hawaii man convicted of violent murders 5 years ago will spend the rest of his life behind bars with no possibility of parole.
This strict sentence for Ethan Mota came as no surprise to anyone involved in the case. KITV's Paul Drews joins us live from the newsroom to explain why in tonight's top story, Paul.
Well, no surprise, because the judge was forced to follow federal sentencing guidelines. But even though everyone knew the life sentence was coming, it was still an emotional end to this long criminal case.
The final chapter of a violent attack that began at the Poly Golf Course back in 2004 is finally written at federal court, where Judge Susan Mulway handed down a life sentence for convicted murderer Ethan Mota.
What happened here today was totally expected. In light of the convictions, nobody had an option here, not even the judge. Congress prescribed the sentence, life. It's life without parole, essentially.
Mota made no final statement before the judge, but did give a smile and a wave to his family and friends that had joined him inside the courtroom. Then he dropped his head as the sentence was read.
Even being prepared for it, it's still a difficult day. It's a somber day. You got a lot of people who've been affected by the trauma of the events of January 7, 2004, the family of the decedents, the family of the defendant.
Before the sentencing, a letter was read from the wife of one of the men killed at the golf course. Ma'ane'ima Taliesin Utu Corpuz told the court that Mota showed no conscience whatsoever to satisfy your selfish desires. You took away the life God intended for me. This sentence ends a long criminal case that first began in Hawaii's courts and ended under federal jurisdiction.
This brings to a close a very unfortunate but a very violent episode in organized crime history in Hawaii. I think that It's a very serious offense, as the judge commented, and warranted a very serious sanction on this defendant.
While Mata will not be eligible for parole, his attorney has already started working on his appeal to the convictions.
Or so over 20 years ago, they got that get back, you know? So let me quickly get into the documents that were made public regarding Mr. Monalim's cooperation against his own family members, right? Mota and his cousin Rodney Joseph Jr. are on trial for racketeering and for murder and attempted murder in connection with the January 7th, 2004 shootings at Poly Golf Course. The government said the shootings were the result of a violent struggle among competing factions for control of illegal gambling operations on Oahu. Oahu is basically in Honolulu. The informant rather, is Jonathan Monalim, cousin to both Mota and Joseph. On October 30th, 2004, he secretly recorded a conversation with Mota on the Big Island while Mota was free on $1 million bail when the state was prosecuting the murder case. They should have took him on a boat like Tony took Big Pussy out on the water. Yeah, y'all remember The Sopranos? Y'all probably don't remember The Sopranos. Anyways, on the recording, Mota says you have to put blood on the table to send a message. Monalim says that phrase means to kill somebody and that Mota wanted to send a message to people he thought were stepping on his toes. Monalim said the portions of the conversation in which Mota told him that he was organizing gambling on Oahu and that he would be bigger than Charlie Stevens are not on the tape because of background noise, which included rustling sounds, and it drowned out the conversation. He said Mota also whispered when he mentioned names or talked about the shooting. When U.S. Assistant Attorney Thomas Brady asked Monalim why Mota would talk to him about gambling, Monalim said, because we're cousins and he thought he could trust me. Just grimy, man. Monalim said he also told the FBI that he thought Mota would turn over control of the gambling operations to him. Monalim said he started cooperating with the FBI after agents raided his home in February 2004 and told him they had information that he had conspired to distribute drugs. He said he introduced a drug source to a contact in Hawaii to distribute methamphetamine. So basically, he cooperated to save his own ass, and he was willing to put his own family members away. That's why I say, man, the streets, there is no loyalty in the streets. And, you know, when Sammy the Bull basically took down a whole mob organization by himself, that was the end of any organized crime, any street activity. Like, that pretty much opened up like the floodgates to guys just basically saying, you know what? I'm not doing time for anybody. You know what I'm saying? I got a family to get home to. And even if they were involved in criminal activity, they still were willing to put other people in jail. And that's the crazy part. That's the messed up part about the streets, man. Like, people will take you away from your family in order to get back home to theirs. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's fucked up, man. Y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think about this story, man. Do y'all think that, you know, street justice just caught up with this guy and, you know, that's just how things play out in the streets? And do y'all think that anyone who is still out there, you know, involved or active, this should be kind of like a wake-up call if they haven't had one already? Y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think. Again, I appreciate y'all rocking with me. I'm gonna continue to bring y'all, you know, the news that flies under the radar, also as well as what's going on in current culture. So till next time.